The Big 12 and the ACC gave in to the SEC and the Big Ten when it comes to the new college football playoff proposal. We've got the details coming up here in this video. Welcome into the channel. I am John Kurtz. Here on this channel, I talk college football, conference realignment, college basketball all day, every day. Make sure you subscribe if you have not. Live shows Wednesdays and Sundays. They are a blast with a ton of people in here from all over the college football world. So make sure that you are subscribed. Click the bell so you know when it is that I'm going live and be a part of the action. If you could like the video, I would really appreciate that. Helps me a lot with the YouTube algorithm. And leave a comment in the comment section. Do you think that the Big 12 and the ACC should be giving into this, or should they have told the Big Ten and the SEC to go kick rocks and do their own thing? All right. It is not official as of the time that I am recording right now, but all reports from Thursday were that it would happen sometime Friday. It would become officially official. And the key here on getting the college football playoff, at least revenue distribution agreed upon, which is the initial step, was that the Big 12 and the ACC would have to give in to a system that is going to put them even further behind the Big Ten and the SEC based on how much money gets doled out. So here are the details. We will combine the reporting of both Pete Thamel and ESPN, as well as Ross Dellinger and Yahoo Sports. So Pete Thamel says the next iteration of the college football playoff starting in 2026 is expected to be formalized in the next 24 hours. A 14-team format is expected starting in 2026 as leagues are signing an MOU and having final discussions. That was at 4 o'clock on Thursday. So 4 o'clock on Thursday within the next 24 hours, depending on when you're watching this, may have already happened, but the expectation was by late afternoon on Friday that this would be signed, sealed, and delivered, which would meet the timeline that was laid out there by Bill Hancock and others that supposedly ESPN needed in order to keep their offer on the table for the TV deal. So as far as the Big 12 goes, here's what the reporting says on that. Presidents in the ACC and Big 12 voted to authorize their commissioners to adopt the future framework related to a new college football playoff, including a new revenue model and concepts around a playoff format, all of which will be a part of a new contract with ESPN. Those with knowledge spoke to Yahoo Sports under condition of anonymity. The two leagues were thought to be the most resistant to a deal, which makes sense, right? The numbers early on were showing that the Big Ten and the SEC combined would be making an extra $300 million per year out of this playoff deal. That was a jarring statistic to read. That was a sobering one to read. And there was thought, hey, would the Big 12 and ACC call their bluff, push back, demand something more equitable, and see if they would actually leave if not? That is not the case. The Big 12, it appears, and the ACC are going to give in on this. Their presidential vote is viewed as a significant hurdle crossed to reaching an agreement. The Big 12 and ACC votes were unanimous, sources told Yahoo Sports. But I will say the caveat to that is do not take that to mean that the Big 12 and the ACC were like completely on board here and this was all kumbaya and everybody was in on this. Anytime a vote comes down officially, it's always going to be unanimous. Nobody ever wants it to not be unanimous publicly. So you're always going to get that when it comes out. Doesn't mean there wasn't a bunch of dissent behind the scenes. The College Football Playoff Management Committee, the 10 FBS conference commissioners, and Notre Dame's athletic director is expected to meet over the next few days in a gathering that should produce some finality on what's been a long, dramatic march to the playoffs future beginning in 2026. Each conference in Notre Dame will be asked to either commit or not to the new framework. The expectation, pending the approval from each conference presidential board, is that all 10 conferences will commit to, most notably, a new revenue distribution model, parameters around the playoff format, and new governance structure. Notre Dame is supportive of the framework, multiple sources told Yahoo Sports, which would have been another potential issue here, but I never saw much that Notre Dame was really up in arms about this or worried too much about this, even though their distribution will be behind the Big Ten and the SEC as well. So it's not like Notre Dame is going to be in a totally different boat than the Big 12 and the SEC here, or the Big 12 and the ACC here, rather. But Notre Dame will be making more money from their TV entities than each of those conferences. As detailed in a Yahoo Sports story last Friday, a proposal for a new revenue distribution model is heavily weighted toward the Big Ten and the SEC. In the past, the five major conferences mostly split evenly 80% of the college football playoffs revenue. They're going to be making over twice the amount of revenue with the new playoff contract, $1.3 billion to $460 million, but you're going to get a different split of everything. The Big Ten and the SEC would combine to earn 58% of the base distribution, and the Big 12 and the ACC would combine to earn 32%. And the remaining amount will be distributed to Notre Dame and the group of five. Here is what, for instance, Dennis Dodd laid out as the specifics on this. College football playoff revenue breakdown. Beginning in 2026, the SEC 29%, Big Ten 29%, ACC 17%, Big 12 15%, Group of Five 9%, and the Indies get the remainder. There was also a report out there that Notre Dame would be around that $12 to $13 million number that has been thrown out there for the ACC, in the 13 million range, the Big 12 in the 12 million range. So that is something else of note to where Notre Dame would be. It appears much in line with the Big 12 and the ACC. According to the latest proposal, there is not expected to be a participation distribution concept as part of a new revenue model, a change that leaders made to the original proposal circulated last week. Current model calls for participating teams to earn revenue by qualifying and then advancing through the field. The college football base revenue distribution model is largely based on historic success. So this would be why the ACC has a little bit more than the Big 12 does. Considering future realignment moves, the SEC and Big Ten account for 72.5% of college football playoff participants. The SEC leads all conferences with 17 appearances in the four-team field. When factoring in Oklahoma and Texas, the Big Ten is next at 12. The ACC had 7 and the Big 12 with 2. So, of course, that knocks the Big 12 down to just Cincinnati and TCU there. But the Big 12 has had more recent success in that realm than the ACC. Just like their heavy revenue share, the SEC and Big Ten are expected to hold significant weight in determining a future format. A variety of 14-team formats continue to circulate. This is interesting, like where the 14-team formats are going, and this seemingly will lag behind the revenue distribution part of the agreement. But Ross Dellinger says a 5+9 14-team model is gaining traction. So it'd be like the 5+7, 5 automatic bids, 7 at-larges, except this would just add a couple, so 9 at-larges. Presumably the model would grant automatic berths to the 5 highest-ranked conference champions, which, I mean, I think I could certainly live with that. That was the system that we're settling into for the next couple of years, and that I think most of us probably figured would be the way things would continue to go, is just getting the 5 auto bids, still gets the Big 12 in auto bids, still gets the ACC in auto bid, and then you go from there with the at-larges. There still exists the possibility of multiple automatic qualifiers for individual leagues, including a format that grants 3 automatic qualifiers to the SEC and Big Ten. That is the 3-3-2-2-1+3 model. So 3 for the Big Ten, 3 for the SEC, 2 for the Big 12, 2 for the ACC, 1 for Group of 5, and then 3 at-large bids. And that would include Notre Dame if they're in the top 14 of the playoff rankings. That was the one that gained a lot of traction within the last couple of weeks, but it does appear that that may not be the total shoe-in favorite anymore if we are going to trust Dellinger's reporting here. And then this one, I've not heard as much about. There is a 2-2-1-1-1+7 model under consideration as well. So that'd be 2 for the Big Ten, 2 for the SEC, 1 for the Big 12, 1 for the ACC, 1 for Group of 5, and 7 at-large spots. It grants 2 auto bursts each to the SEC and Big Ten, 1 each to the ACC and Big 12, 1 to the highest-ranked Group of 5 with 7 at-large spots. And a good bit of news for most people, I think, didn't seem like anybody was really happy about this. The concept of the Big Ten and SEC holding exclusive rights over the first 2 first-round buys, has received enough pushback that it has been tabled. So the Big Ten and SEC are not going to be getting, it looks like, automatic buys in the first round, which is something that they wanted to be able to sell their conference championship game as having a lot of meaning because you're competing for a first-round bye there. So interesting that received enough pushback, and probably a good thing from the college football world that received enough pushback. So again, depending on when it is that you're viewing this, we could have this be official. I anticipate certainly by the time we do the live show on Sunday that it will be official, that we have the framework of all this approved and we're moving forward with it. Like it or not, seemed like on the last live show, many people did not like the idea of that, and that the Big 12 and ACC should have pushed back. It sounded like behind the scenes, Jim Phillips in particular did give some pushback on this, but in the end, they agreed. So that's what we have. Let me know what you think in the comments. Should the Big 12 and the ACC have held their ground and called the bluff of the Big 10 and the SEC? Please like the video. That really helps. John-Kurtz-4 on Venmo if you would like to support the channel. You can also leave a question or comment there for me, and I will get to it on the next live show. But appreciate all of you guys. Take care, and I will talk to you soon.